Before we could do anything technical in the 3D world, you first have to have an idea what these guys are going to look like. What do these characters look like? So we had a whole slew of Purim characters we had to create, that we had to work that with what we know from Chazal and what we want to come up with on our own. Lester can look like anything we want him to look like, or Daniel Lesterovich to be more accurate. He can look like anything, and his friends can look like anything, but they have to have a certain emotional connection to the people watching it. If your main character in the story is not sweet and adorable and relatable, you're not going to enjoy watching it.
Well, drawing the kids, that came from the concept artist, and once we had final approval on what these characters will look like, we then go through a process of translating a 2D drawing into 3D. It's not going to be perfect on the first try, especially even when 3D modeling. A lot of things don't translate over too well, so a lot of times we have to kind of take artistic liberty, which means it's a lot of meeting with the teams and going over just minute details until we get down to just granular changes until we get that character absolutely right. And from there, once you have that first character, we then have a solid pipeline on how all the other characters should be created. Our first character was Lester, and I was the one that actually modeled Lester as well as the basis for all the other characters, and everyone else kind of took those bases and ran with it and created all the other characters. And I think we're up to probably about 30 or 40 characters now. For everything you're creating, especially when building a world, the first one generally takes the longest time, but once you get that pipeline down, everything else just kind of falls into place.
Initially, we were thinking Lester should be like a 5th grader, and we brought in some really talented artists who were drawing him. So we had to find that balance of keeping it cartoony, but by keeping it real.
For every character in the show, we have a whole array of facial expressions that we had to build so that they would be able to emote the performances they needed to perform. Expressions like smile, frown, eyes blinking.
A lot of the detail issues were things like just even down to the size of his yarmulke, things like that. We had to take a lot of great care into how it sits on his head, down to what shirt he's wearing, what type of shirt, what's popular with the kids nowadays, his pants, what kind of shoes he would wear. Just the overall look and feel on his face itself to kind of give him that right age, because we don't want him to look either too old or too young, because then it's just not going to be believable for the character. And also translating over 2D concepts of a very cartoony, stylized character where they have, big eyes, big heads, just really playing around with the proportions of the character just so everything's balanced out and works well.
Seresh, Vashti, and Seresh, Haman, of course, those have definitely been some of the more fun characters to create just because they're so extreme and have such strong and defined personalities.
You've got guys like Lester, the main character, he's supposed to be the most relatable. You got Shia, who's kind of the small, sort of quiet kid that, it's a group of friends, but they're definitely a lot of different personalities. And so those have to come across in the way that we act when playing the different characters.
Haman's character is very insecure. He struggles with his self-image a lot, as I would imagine anybody who tries to massacre a whole group of people does. Vashti, we designed her kind of based on a snooty kind of upper class, so the high cheekbones and the slanty eyes and those kind of things. Big Son and Seresh, they're a team. They're kind of bumbling idiots to some degree, but they think they're a little bit smarter than what they are, or at least Big Son does. He's kind of the mastermind behind a lot of their plans. But we purposely designed one to be big and one to be skinny just so they can kind of have that right kind of contrast and play off of each other.
Every important character in this film is foreshadowed by the real character in Lester's own life. Of course, it's obvious to the audience that when they see Vinny and Paulie as garbage men, this is Big Son and Seresh. Vashti gets to be seen briefly as the scary neighbor with the cat tail that I'm sure people picked up on. Even one of Lester's classmates, Eliyahu, this kind of doofy kid, who's Charvona, who for whatever reason always is pushing his 50 amma idea, whether it's applicable or not. We thought it would be much more satisfying for the audience to feel like they've met these characters in advance, that they have some kind of relationship to these characters even before they meet them in the real context. Even there's a brief moment where you get to see Achashverosh and Seresh as the entourage of Professor Herman A. Maliki, You write down the name, you'll see what it spells like. In Lester's imagination world, in his head, he sees these are the people that he would place. And I'm sure the audience must have noticed that the voice of Mordechai is his Rebbe.
Yingala, calm down. What are you talking about?